some sort of irritant that somebody is eating or exposed to could perpetuate chronic inflammation. And this is really my wheelhouse. This is what I've worked with people, began working with people when I started my practice as a naturopathic doctor 18 years ago. And I would attest to this, that over and over again, I see this work for people in practice to reduce their inflammation. So there's a number of foods that perpetuate inflammation for the average person. Again, I share this information. It's very general information. You do need to tweak it a little bit because everybody is unique. But sugar is the first food. And now you know, right? I just spent that whole time talking about how sugar promotes the release of insulin, which perpetuates inflammation. So that's why sugar is an allergen. So I mean, cane sugar, corn sugar, but even natural sugars can do this too. If you're eating a lot of fruit or a lot of maple syrup or fill in the blank agave nectar, that could perpetuate a lot of inflammation for someone. It goes without saying that artificial sweeteners should be avoided because those are horrible and tend to promote inflammation in the body also. Gluten is the next item on the list. Gluten is a protein that's commonly found in wheat and a lot of other grains like rye and barley. And gluten is a trigger to the immune system because it has a large molecular peptide structure. Peptide just means the protein when you look at the molecules of the food. And the reason that this is important is that the immune system is more likely to target foods and create an inflammatory response if they have a big peptide structure. So gluten, especially gluten that's been bred over the years and hybridized, very, very big molecular peptide structure, and very commonly will promote inflammation for individuals. Dairy is on the list for the same reason. It has a larger molecular peptide structure. So if someone has an immune system that's already aggravated, a body that's already got a lot of inflammation, sometimes dairy can perpetuate the inflammatory process. The same with corn. Corn is very similar to gluten. It actually has its own component called gluten. And so sometimes the immune system is originally aggravated by the gluten found in wheat or a similar grain, and then begins to react to the gluten in corn and gluten proteins in other foods like rice and quinoa and millet, etc. So that's why we generally see lots of therapeutic gains from having people eliminate grains altogether. Soy is the next food. Again, very large molecular peptide structure, just sets a lot of people up for inflammation. So that would include soy milk, as well as tofu, any other soy-based foods. And then peanut, again, it's a legume, it's hard to digest, it's got a bigger molecular peptide structure. So these are some examples of some of the top things that are continually irritating someone who's got a lot of inflammation in their diet. You would want to take them all out. I generally find taking them out one at a time, experimenting here, experimenting there. It might work for some people, but for a lot of people, that process doesn't work at all. What's going to work for them is to eliminate them all at once till they get the inflammation level down and then add them back in one at a time and see which one is more of a trigger. So many foods will perpetuate chronic inflammation because of large molecular peptide structure, or in the case of sugar, because of the insulin. Some foods are a combination of promoting a lot of insulin. So like bread would be an example of this. You get not only the big molecular peptide structure, but also the strong insulin response to bread, making it very inflammatory for some people. So in my book, The Body Tune-Up, I outline a diet that basically helps pull back the chronic inflammation. It helps you eliminate all these triggers, and then afterwards you can trial them one at a time. You can also do food sensitivity testing. There's many different options for testing available. I like this one, the FIT, which stands for Food Intolerance Test, by KBMO. I like it because I see good results with it, but also it is done with a finger prick at home, so it's accessible for people. So this would be a way to test this. So hopefully you're getting information about each one of these pieces and also a way to test each one of these areas to see if it might be beneficial for you to make changes there. So one of the problems when someone has a lot of dietary triggers is that they'll have something called leaky gut. Leaky gut is when the single cell layer in the digestive system is pulled apart and damaged. So the filtering out process of food versus not food doesn't work very well. And someone's immune system is very easily triggered. There's a lot of immune cells right underneath the gut lining. And so once leaky gut is established, it can lead to inflammation in multiple body systems. So people tend to make the mistake that leaky gut is just related to a gut problem. It's not. Leaky gut can often lead to a lot of other symptoms, cognitive symptoms, symptoms in other seemingly unrelated body systems. So addressing leaky gut will go a long way to helping to reduce inflammation for someone. I have a whole nother lecture, Natural Solutions for Leaky Gut. So if you want to learn more about leaky gut, please check that out on the website.